Hi, welcome to Katjoga with a K and a J. I'm Katja. We do yoga. Today we do meditation, which is part of yoga. And I'm going to show you some options of how to sit comfortably, which is the key word. How to sit comfortably in meditation. I'm going to give you some options. Let's hop on the mat. So come to your mat if you have one set up, and maybe on a pillow if you have a pillow. But let's talk about all of these options. I actually think one of the most important things in finding a comfortable position for meditation is being warm enough. So have cozy socks, maybe have a blanket. I can't use mine right now because, hello, Zorro is sleeping in it. So yeah, but it's not that cold. But it's sometimes nice to put yourself a little bit into a nice blanket, wrap yourself in. So, all right, what they often say is come to a comfortable cross-legged position, and that in itself can be a bit of a contradiction for people. So let's see what options we have. This is also somewhat sarcastically called the easy pose, and it's not so easy for a lot of us due to knees or hips or backs that don't want to do what we want to do when we sit in a cross-legged position. Important would be that your back can be straight. So straight means that really the sit bones, they have a flat part underneath, and you want that flat part to be resting on the ground. You don't want to be tilted forward and arched like that, and you don't want to be tilted back like that, because then you're only sitting on a little part of your sit bones. You really want to be on the sit bones that they're really resting, right? And the back is straight. In order for that, you might have to raise your hips a bit, your sit bones, the way I have it right now, for example. That helps sometimes to straighten. Now watch what happens if I sit too high, like I fold this pillow. What can happen is that makes me tilt forward, makes me arch my back, and that's not what I want. Okay, so find the height that works. And then also, if this is maybe strenuous for you already, you can put bolsters or blocks or a blanket or whatever under your thighs, knees kind of. And that takes some stress off the hips, okay? Now, speaking of the hips, a lot of people say your hips should be higher than your knees. And I want to challenge that thought a little bit. It's true in some ways. We will get back to that later. But if I now were to really concentrate on getting my knees lower than my hips, you know, I could really hurt myself, because I'm kind of starting to pull the hips out of my sockets, right? And put a lot of stress on them. This is not comfortable for me. This is painful, actually. And the higher my hips are, the more stress I'm putting now on my hips, and they're being really pulled out of the sockets. Not a good idea unless you are totally flexible and this opening of the legs is super comfortable for you. All right, so it's good to protect yourself, have a normal, easy, cross-legged position, have it supported if needed, if this is too much stress on your hips. Otherwise, this would be a good option. We have options for eye positions. You can either have the eyes closed, or you can have the gaze. Some people just don't like to have the eyes closed. For some people, it's the only way to be able to focus in. If we get away from the distraction of what we see, right? But some people don't like to have their eyes closed, and they can focus much better if they just focus on a spot in front of themselves. You want to have the chin pointing slightly downwards, right? So the neck is an elongation of the spine, really, and it's nice and long and it's pulling up through here, and the chin is lowered slightly, okay? Not a lot, just slightly. So that's one of the things you can do. And then you can do the chin mudra, which is thumbs and index fingers are touching and the hands are resting on the knees. The other fingers are kind of nice and open. Mudras are all about energy circles being closed so that no energy gets lost. It's about the prana, it's about the life energy. So this is an option. You have this chin mudra where the palms are facing up. Or you can do it, it's called the inana mudra, when the palms are facing down. Both works fine. Find what feels best for you. And then, if none of this is working for you, let's see, maybe kneeling works for you. So come to a kneeling position. And the same thing is true here. You want your back to be straight, okay? Don't want arch like that. You don't want it slouched like that. You want it to be straight. Now this works fine for me, but some people might want to sit on a blanket, right? This might feel really comfortable. Or again, you can sit on your blocks. Have it as high as you want, really. This can be about this high if that feels better, you know. This is all about you and what feels best in your body. This is very comfortable. Again, make sure the sit bones are flat on your seat. And then here, maybe the chin mudra doesn't work so well, right? My arms are kind of too short. Another great mudra is the dhyana mudra, where your right palm is lying in your left palm and the thumbs are touching. And you want to have the hands around the height of your navel. And if you're now thinking, yeah, but then I can't relax my arms, that's fine. You don't have to relax everything. Meditation is not about just relaxing everything. The body should be comfortable. And we want to stay in a position where we can stay alert. Meditation is not about zoning out. Meditation is about zooming in. And we can do that better in a poised, proud, graceful, alert, awake position, right? So it's totally okay if we need to have a little bit of an activation in some parts of our bodies to stay alive. Okay, so this might be a good position for you. Then of course we can go to a chair. It's great if you're able to have the soles of your feet resting on the ground, on the floor. Usually it's good to come to the edge of the chair. Make sure nothing cuts off your circulation here. So play around with how far forward or back you want to go. And also here, make sure your sit bones are kind of flat to the surface, right? We're not tilting, we're not arching like that. We try not to slouch, okay? So this will be wonderful. Of course, also here you can have the chin mudra, the inana mudra, or the dhyana mudra, whichever one works for you. Or just rest your hands on your thighs. Totally fine too. Okay? And if this is still not good, maybe you have a weak lower back that doesn't allow any of this really, then totally sit with a backrest. It's absolutely okay. And you know what's best for your body if you want this. In that case, I would slide back as much as possible so that, and then preferably you would have a backrest that goes all the way down, not like mine, right? Find something that works for you. Maybe put a pillow back here and just sit like this. It shouldn't be so comfortable that you're gonna fall asleep, but that you can stay alert and awake and tuned in, okay? And in my case, with my short legs, maybe I would then raise my feet, put a big book under my feet or something like that, so that this gets really comfortable. So if still you haven't found any position that is good for you, what about lying down? Now, a lot of things are being said about lying down for meditation. The only thing that speaks against it is that it's easy to fall asleep when you're lying down. And like I said before, we want to stay awake and alert, so we don't want to fall asleep actually. So come to a lying position on your back, most likely, and have your feet stay up, your knees, so your feet are on the mat. and your knees are up. And you can have your arms out, as in Shavasana. You could even do a Chin Mudra here. That's totally fine. Or you can have your hands on your belly, which connects you to your breath in the body, which is very good too. The reason I prefer to have the knees up like that is that really Shavasana really is very hard to stay alive, alert and awake. It's very easy to fall asleep. If you have at least your knees up like that, you know, and you want to really feel the ground under you, you want to have your shoulder blades on the floor, you want to push your neck slightly into the floor and get really alert and awake that way. Maybe you could even have your eyes open and focus on a spot on the ceiling in order not to fall asleep. So that's a great option too. Great, so now we're going to get back to the options for cross-legged. So on a pillow or not on a pillow, if cross-legged is good for you, you have more options than the easy pose. You can line up your heels, for example. Now this is only if you are flexible enough in your hips to be able to rest the shins on the floor while keeping a straight back. The way I showed you, you shouldn't be falling forward now. Your belly shouldn't be spilling out and you shouldn't be slouching. The knees shouldn't, now here, the knees shouldn't be higher. You shouldn't be rising up, right? If you're going to be coming to a position like that, you want your knees, your shins on the floor. You can also hook one leg into the other, kind of like that. One foot is now nice and warm. And you can of course also come to a half lotus position. Again, especially if you can bring your leg high enough up so that your foot is not totally a bit warped and crooked, and if your knee can stay on the floor. Otherwise, you're really putting a lot of stress, okay? I mean, find it for yourself. You know, there are positions in between on the way to lotus, for example. And then if this is totally comfortable, next day, maybe I'll try to have the other leg up. You know, maybe this is really uncomfortable, like in my case. So don't do it. Maybe you have a full lotus, but I kind of doubt it because you probably wouldn't even be watching this video if you do. Full lotus position is awesome and rocking if that's totally comfortable for you and nothing is getting tingly and tickling and you can just stay like that. The main thing in meditation position is really the part of comfortable. If you're not comfortable, you're not going to be able to get any of the benefits of meditation, all right? Because you're not going to be able to focus in what we're trying to focus in on, because the body is going to be distracting you. And I assume that you don't have a meditation police at home who's saying that's not the right posture. You know, there's no Zen monk with a stick that's going to hit you on your back if you're not perfectly straight or something. So find what works for you. Find something where you feel like, I do this to do something good for myself. All right? It's not about pushing yourself into some position that somebody else, you know, put on you. Choose. It's all for you to choose. Choose what's comfortable. And then maybe I'll see you in one of my meditation videos. There's a little series from 4 minutes to 10 minutes where we do a meditation each day. We increase our time a little bit. I have other meditation videos coming up, so I would love to see you there. Ciao!